This Is Forever. That's the closing track on the album. And Chris Whitley from Dirt Floor with Altitude. And we just happen to have Chris on the line. Hello, Chris.
Hi, how you doing?
Pretty good. Got a bit of a time lag here, but we'll work around it. Now, you're calling from New York. You're living there at the moment?
Yeah, I've lived here. I moved here in the late 70s. I'm in Greenwich Village. I'm like a couple blocks from Bleecker Street. I came here to play music in late 70s.
Right. Is that a hard thing living there?
Oh, it's definitely expensive. It's okay. I've been touring. Really, I've only been here about 4 months in the last 2 years, I think.
Oh, right. So, getting a bit of variety anyway. I was there about 10 years ago, and I've heard it's a bit more conservative. Is that reflective of the music industry at all?
I don't know. Possibly. I mean, I think it's just very expensive, and it's really a marketplace. I don't know about New York being more conservative, but it seems to be harder, for sort of subversive people who live here, which is a drag. I mean, the village was a sort of a bohemian center, in the 60s and stuff, and it's really not that at all anymore, except for pretty much the gay, there's like a bit of a different culture here, but there's not much left of what it was, It was like poets and stuff in the 50s, painters and whatnot,
I heard they get you even for jaywalking now.
Well, I don't know. That probably has to do with the mayor of the last 4 years or something who's been pretty, kind of. It's probably just catering to the money that makes up most of this town,
You're getting an opportunity to see many of the bands around town at the moment?
I haven't, I used to go out, I've played here a lot. I've only been back for the last 2 days. I've been on tour, like I was saying, like pretty much the last 2 years. So I haven't really seen many bands around in a while. New York, oddly, has never really turned out many great bands, except for jazz and hip-hop. I think there's, the Talking Heads or Ramones or that era, but, Velvet Underground and, whatever, New York Dolls or something, but that, but not loads has really come from here. It's really a marketplace,
One major thing I remember about New York is that very few people turned out to be what they claim to be. I get the sense.
I don't know. I mean, New York is, I've lived here a long time, on and off, but LA, Los Angeles to me is definitely worse in that regard. But it's more really specifically entertainment industry. It's just kind of. New York is also the oldest part of America, so it's got some. It's ugly, and it's not too much under wraps, where a lot of places try to, LA seems more superficial that way,
Yeah. Well, with the lyrics, the imagery of the lyrics on Dirt Floor, anyway, you seem to be. There seems to be a lot of having to wade through junk and refuse and tearing down walls, that sort of thing to get to something that's worthwhile and real. Am I sort of close to the mark there?
It's I don't know. I hope I don't use imagery too literally. It's just I wrote that record like 2 years ago when it came out over here first, and it was really very specifically to that time. And what I was going through here, I'd put out 3 albums on Sony and just been dropped, and I wanted to do something really quickly to ground myself creatively, and I recorded that record in 1 day and wrote it in 2 months, and then I actually behind it, than I ever have before. So it worked out okay, but it's very, the imagery and where it's coming, where its vantage point is definitely to the specific thing of what I was dealing with at the time,
Yeah.
But somewhat just imagery.
Your daughter Trixie on the live track, which is on the Australian release of Alien.
Was actually a song that I wrote that was on my last Sony record. But my daughter lives in Belgium. I lived there for 5 years in Western Europe, and she sings and plays drums and has toured with me a couple times, and sings a couple tunes with me.
Wow.
She's a DJ professionally in Belgium, and is in does theater productions and stuff.
Ah. How old is she now?
She's 12.
She seems to be able to cut through the rubbish pretty well when it seems like someone from the crowd is being a bit patronising.
Yeah.
Did you did you meet up with that person that she admonished after the gig?
That's funny. Reggie. No, oddly, he's an old friend of ours.
Oh.
It's funny, and she didn't know that at the time. She was probably just being wound up,
Yeah. I think it's great. Getting back to Dirt Floor, as you say, it was recorded in one day on one microphone in a barn in Vermont. Would it have been a different album if it was recorded in say New York City? You think?
Well, I had planned to do it here. I wrote it all here in New York. It would definitely sound different because of the sound of that room that we recorded in. Was the barn, this old house, but that's pretty much it. I mean, it would sound differently, I think, but I'm not sure if the vibe would be much different.
Yeah.
Just because it's not much variables.
Yeah, I see. And there's dobro, banjo, but no electric guitar on that album.
I just played the National and played a Martin Gibson acoustic on one tune. Banjo and a song. I just wanted it to be really what it is, and I didn't want to take long to do it. I didn't, I wanted it to, also it's what it's not too, it's a little, it's just pragmatic as hell,
Yeah. Well, which is its charm, really. Robin Hitchcock once said that electric music keeps people at a distance. Do you go along with that?
I don't know, not really. I think it's different aesthetically for different people. Some people probably quiet music is, I think for some people quiet music is a bit intense or a bit boring, and vice versa. For some people, loud music is a bit intense and a bit boring. To me, I think it's more depending on what time of day I'm listening or what the mood is or whatever. I can respond to all kinds of stuff. I just, I do like a stripped down thing in terms of songwriting, and I don't know. It can definitely, you can mask, a vulnerability by being loud, But I think too, I've heard music that is really loud and vulnerable, and so it depends on the impetus of the music and the kind of strengths and weaknesses, I think, of the musician, and the writing, because when stuff is really stripped down, the writing, especially lyric, to the chorus is very naked,
Is that the mark of a good song then, that it stands up?
I don't know. It's a certain kind of song, I don't really know. I tend to love, like, Thelonious Monk, like solo piano or things like that, but I also love, like, Nat King Cole with the orchestra, and My Bloody Valentine or Kraftwerk or, the opposite kind of things. I grew up on early Dylan records, that are just him and a guitar, and but I love stuff that's stripped down, but I also like things using other sounds is really just to illustrate creating a tune. But I definitely write differently when I know it's to be a solo thing. It's kind of simplified, you know, and a little more detailed maybe or something.
Yeah. Where do you find all those amazing tunings that you use?
I've been writing and playing them 23 years or something, and I've just made up stuff over the years. I've learned to play guitar by writing songs. Same with anything else that I've played, and so I just always made up stuff, you know.
Yeah. Well, what's your favourite one at the moment?
I usually in a normal set I use like 20 tunings, so I don't really, hopefully they have different moods, you know.
Yeah.
And hopefully they work with the song, really. It's just another kind of level of pragmatism, really.
Yeah. Well, you're playing at the Continental here in Melbourne on the 8th and 9th of November, and what can our audiences expect from Chris Whitley show?
I usually play. It's like kind of louder probably than it's on dirt floor. I'll just be playing solo, but I usually plug into an amp with the Nationals, you know, and I play on this stomp board, just like board with a upright bass pickup on it. So it's got I think that my songwriting has a degree of, you know, I come out of a kind of blues and blues rocks thing, and I think it, you know, my writing still has this sort of visceral quality that I hope I can get across with a live thing, even solo, you know.
All right, Chris. I'll look forward to seeing you then.
Okay.
And yeah, well, it's not too far away in the future, so it'll be just a couple of weeks. What have you got in between now and then?
Well, I'm not doing anything. I have 2 weeks off. I've just been on the road for the last 3 weeks solid, and before that I was in Europe, and before that I've toured with Alanis Morissette this year in America, and Johnny Lang also. I don't know if he's known over there.
No,
I've
by
done
me.
3 tours of my own solo, and in Europe, like 3 tours.
Oh.
And pretty much on the road, pretty much all the last 2 years.
Oh, wow. Well, take it easy while you can.
Yeah, I'm trying to.
All right, Chris. We'll see you then.
Okay.
All the best.